There are three primary factors that colleges look at when considering a student for admission. The first one is the application itself. Once the student has decided they would like to apply to a college, they need to go to the college website, find the admissions page. It is usually labeled admissions, but some colleges might list it under a heading like prospective students or future students. Each college will be slightly different in what they ask for on their application. At a minimum, they will ask for basic information such as name, address, high school, possibly intended program of study. Many will also ask for school and community involvement, and some will ask for a personal statement or essay, and possibly letters of recommendation from teachers, counselors, etc. All of the application requirements will be listed on the college's admissions page. In most cases, the student will need to create an account, and then the website will walk them through the process. The second factor that colleges consider in admissions is the student transcript. They're going to be looking at the courses the student has taken. They're looking for rigor. They're going to look at the grades the student have earned. So they're looking at GPA and class rank. They're also going to be looking at the courses in progress to make sure that they are continuing in their senior year to take rigorous courses. A few colleges will allow students to self-report their courses and grades earned and then ask for a final transcript at the end of the year. But in most cases, the college will require that an official transcript be submitted directly from us to the college before they will consider the student for admission. So to take care of that, after the student has submitted their online application, they should speak to their counselor or to the guidance office secretary to request that a transcript be sent. The third factor that most four-year colleges consider as part of the application process is the college entrance exam, or sometimes it is referred to as an admissions test. So some of the reasons for taking an admissions test: it opens doors. They might not know right away that they want to apply to a four-year college, but just having that score, they have that option later. It guides their choices. It shows them the areas where their strengths lie and where perhaps they need to work a little bit. And this is a key point, it helps qualify for scholarships. Many four-year colleges will have set scholarships for students. For example, if you're in the top 10% of the class and you have a 28 or higher on the ACT, you might have a set amount of money that you automatically would receive upon admission. So students should take a look at that information on the websites of the colleges they're thinking about. And if they find college scholarships like that and they have an ACT score that's very close, it might be worth their time to retake the ACT and try to earn an extra point or two to possibly earn some of those scholarships. So there are actually two college entrance exams, the ACT and the SAT, and both exams are accepted at every college in the country. The state of Minnesota actually required for last year's juniors, all of them had to take the ACT, and it's part of their graduation requirement. Some students might also choose to take the SAT if they'd like to see how they would do on it. So like I said, all of the juniors last year took the ACT, but if they would like to take the ACT again to see if they could improve their score, they could do that this year. There is a test date in October and also in December, February, April, and June. The test date for October, the deadline to register, has already passed. They can still register, but with a late fee. So if they'd like to do that, they could. Otherwise, they could wait and take it in December. But I would encourage them, if they're doing this for college application purposes, they should try to get into either the October or the December test date. So to register, they just go to actstudent.org and create an account, and it'll walk them through the process. If this is their first time creating the account, they would need to indicate that they have taken the ACT before, if they took it last April, but that they did not register before. And then it will ask them for their ACT ID number so that it can match their account with their previous test score. If they can't find that number, they can speak to their counselor and we will help them find it. If the student qualifies for free or reduced lunch, they can get a fee waiver from their counselor. Another thing to take note of is for the score reports. When they're applying to the colleges, many colleges will require that the score reports come directly from ACT to the college. They won't accept it from the high school. They won't accept it from the student. So when a student's registering for the exam, it's to their advantage to put the college on there right away at the time of registration. Otherwise, they will have to pay a fee to send the scores later. And if they wanted to send their scores from last April, they would also need to create an ACT account to do that, and then they'll need that ACT ID from their score report. So here's what the ACT website looks like. Again, it's actstudent.org. As I mentioned on the previous slide, students can still register for the October test date, but there is a late fee. That is, as of the time of this recording, that is up until October 2nd that they are able to register with a late fee. So on this webpage, you can see other things like deadlines. This is where you create the account. And you can also do things like send scores from here. Another thing you can do on the ACT website, if you see the titles along the top, you can do some test prep. And we encourage students, if they're going into this to try to improve their score, they really should do some preparation ahead of time. So there's different test prep options available here on this website. The first one listed does have a fee, but it's pretty reasonable. Otherwise, the rest of them are free. And the one towards the bottom that says practice test questions, that's a nice option because not only did they get to practice, but then if they get something wrong, it has them go back until they get it right, and then they tell them why that answer was right and why the other ones are wrong. So it gives them some feedback as well. Earlier in the presentation, Sarah Lindy discussed the costs involved in various post-secondary options. Finding a way to cover the cost of college can seem daunting, but there are federal and state financial aid programs in place to help families. In order to receive financial aid, students need to complete a FAFSA, stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The FAFSA will gather information to assess the financial strength of the family. FAFSA cannot be completed until after January 1st because it's based on the financial information of the current calendar year. So based on the information that's gathered on the FAFSA, students are awarded a financial aid package that could consist of 3 components. The first component is grant money. Grants are awarded to the students who demonstrate the highest level of need, and grants do not have to be paid back. The second component is loan money. Loans obviously do need to be paid back, but there are some advantages to student loans as opposed to other types of loans. For example, student loans typically have a lower interest rate, and some student loans do not require repayment until after the student has graduated, and there's usually a grace period for them to find employment and start earning money. The third possible component of a financial aid package is work study. Colleges have various work study jobs available on a campus where the student will work, and then the money that they're earning is considered part of their financial aid. So some examples of work study positions could include working in the cafeteria or the library, the tutor center, or the athletic office, just to name a few. Students who are undocumented do not qualify for federal student aid, and so they would not complete the FAFSA. They do, however, qualify for state aid, and so there's a separate application that they would complete. It's called the Minnesota DREAM Act application. It's also known as the Minnesota Prosperity Act. So the website for that is linked through our website, so they could go to the Richfield website and get more information about the DREAM Act. For more information about financial aid, you can go to our Richfield High School website and go to the guidance page under Office, and we have lots of resources and links there. We will also be passing on more information about financial aid and the FAFSA to the students during an advisory lesson at the beginning of the calendar year. And we will also be having a financial aid night for parents in January. So we encourage you to utilize these resources. Reciprocity is another thing to be aware of when looking at the financial costs of various colleges. A lot of times when you're looking at a college and they're listing their tuition, they will list both an in-state tuition rate and an out-of-state tuition rate. And the out-of-state tuition can sometimes be 2 to 3 times the cost, and it could possibly scare students away. But if they're looking at schools in some of our neighboring states, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, there are few schools in Iowa that also participate in this program called Reciprocity. So that would mean instead of paying the out-of-state tuition, they would pay what they would pay at a comparable university in their home state. So it's much more affordable. So there's more information about Reciprocity and about funding college and choosing a college, lots of resources available at the Office of Higher Ed website. So that website's listed here, and we also have a link to it on our website. During our senior seminar, students were given access to an online tool called Naviance. This is a great tool that helps them do things like search for colleges, schedule college rep visits, organize their applications, and search for scholarships. So we really encourage students to use this. The instructions for how a student can log in are listed here. If you would like your own parent account, you can send an email to me, jessica.oki@rpsmn.org, and I can set up an account for you, the parent. I also, through this program, send out bi-monthly emails. They come every couple weeks, and they list all the current scholarships that we are advertising. So the list of scholarships that's in the program is just a general list, and it tells what we usually know about during the year and the usual amounts and the typical deadlines, but the official deadlines and information come out in these emails and in the bulletins that we post on our website. So if you'd like to be receiving those emails as well, just send me an email and I will add you to the parent list.